Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're jumping into Steve Portical's Interviewing Users, and we're going to see how we can take what seems like a simple conversation and turn it into this incredible tool for finding game-changing insights. Because as you'll see, it's so much more than just talking. It's a real craft.
So let's get this one out of the way first, right? I think a lot of us feel this way. Interviewing users, it looks and sounds like just talking to people, something we do every single day. But that's exactly why it can be so tricky. That familiarity is actually a bit of a trap.
And that right there is the core idea. Portical makes it crystal clear that this isn't about using the conversation skills you already have. In fact, to get really good at this, you often have to unlearn your normal habits. It's a specialized skill set, not just another chat.
So where do you even start? Well, and this might sound a little backward, it's not with a list of questions. The absolute best interviews are built on a solid plan, a foundation that connects your research directly to a real business problem.
This simple framework is your roadmap. It's so logical when you see it laid out. First, you've got to nail down a specific business problem. From that, you figure out what you actually need to learn. Those are your research questions. And only then, once you know all that, do you decide if an interview is even the right tool for the job. And this is so important. This isn't some academic exercise. Research has to be tied to solving real, painful problems that businesses deal with all the time. Like, why did our big product launch just completely flop? Or our competitor is eating our lunch, what's going on? Or even just, what should we build next?
All right, so we've got our plan. Now for the main events, the interview itself. And this is where we have to totally shift our mindset. This isn't a normal conversation, it's a professional inquiry, and it plays by a whole different set of rules.
And this just lays it out so perfectly. In a normal chat, what do? We fill awkward silences, we jump in with our own opinions. In a user interview, you do the opposite. You have to get comfortable with silence, let it hang in the air. You have to bite your tongue and leave your worldview at the door. You ask about what people have done in the past, not what they think they might do in the future. It's a total flip. I absolutely love this. This is a killer technique from the legendary interviewer Robert Caro. That urge to fill the silence is so strong, isn't it? But if you can just resist, if you can just shut up, that's when the magic happens. That's when people go beyond their easy, top-of-mind answers and give you the really good stuff. So all of this, it's all about building rapport. But, and you gotta get this part, we're not trying to make new best friends here. It's about creating a safe space where you are genuinely, intensely curious about their world. You're not there to be the expert, you're there to listen. That's how you get people to open up and share their real experiences. Okay, the interviews are done, you've got pages of notes, maybe some audio recordings. Awesome. But listen, the work is not even close to being over. In fact, you could say the most important part is just getting started. It's time to turn all that raw data into actual insights. You'll hear these two words thrown around a lot: analysis and synthesis. Let's break them down. Analysis is just taking everything apart. You're reading your notes, tagging interesting quotes, pulling out individual facts. Synthesis, well, that's putting it all back together in a new way. It's looking across all those little pieces and finding the big patterns, the story that the data is telling you. And there's a process for this, a path that takes you from that messy pile of data to something clear and powerful. You start by tagging everything. Then you start grouping those tags into bigger themes. You get your team involved, you look for patterns together, and finally, you turn those themes into opportunities, into those amazing "how might we" statements. So we've got a plan, we've interviewed, we've synthesized, we have insights. But what's the point if they just end up in a slide deck that nobody reads, right? How do we make sure this work actually makes a real impact on the business? When you boil it all down, beyond any single recommendation, the real lasting impact of doing this work is empathy. It's about getting your entire team, your engineers, your product managers, your executives, to see customers not as data points, but as real people with messy, complicated lives. When that happens, it changes everything. This story just brings it all home. Portigal tells this fantastic story about a company that was all set to build this super high-tech hard hat. But then they went out and talked to construction workers. And what did they find? Something totally unexpected. The workers cared way more about how they looked and their social status on the site than about having new gadgets. And that one insight led them to kill the project, saving them from a massive, expensive failure.
And that's the bottom line, isn't it? In so many companies, decisions get made based on opinions, usually the loudest opinion in the room.
Good research completely flips that script. It brings real evidence from the outside world into the conversation. It replaces "I think" with "they said." And that changes everything.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Every single one of us, every single company, has these core assumptions about our customers, things we know are true. But what if one of them is wrong? The real power of interviewing is that it gives your customers a chance to shatter those assumptions for you. You just have to be willing to listen.